Now it's time for me to pass the President's gavel to Esther Lim. Esther. Now, I have worked closely with Esther for the last year, and I can vouch for the fact that she has a keen intellect, a tireless work ethic, and unfailingly good humor. And I know Jim Sandman will be here in a moment to say very nice things about Esther, but I can vouch for the fact that she is going to make an excellent DC Bar president. Esther, on behalf of the DC Bar and all former bar presidents, I would like to present you with this gavel. It represents the history of the bar and its dedication to service, integrity, and leadership.
I think Esther has asked that two very, very special people join her as she takes the oath. Her beautiful daughter, Nora, who's 9, and her daughter, Hannah, who is 5. And Esther, if you would indulge me for 30 seconds, just to ask that we all just join before we make the official transition in thanking our outgoing DC Bar President, Pat McGlone, for his steady hand. Pat, it's been a pleasure working with you. And I'd also like to take a brief moment to say congratulations to our Beatrice Rosenberg honoree, John Cosianetta, and to our Thurgood Marshall honoree, my friend, Professor Angela Davis. So thank you. And in my last second, just to thank all of you for being here and for your commitment and your sustained commitment to pro bono service, as evidenced by the highest ever level of fundraising for the DC Bar pro bono program. So congratulations. I'm joined here by my colleague, Chief Judge Robert Morin of the DC Superior Court, and many judges of the Court of Appeals and the Superior Court are here as well. With those 30 seconds worth of remarks, Esther, are you ready to take the oath?
Yes, Chief.
And Nora and Hannah, are you ready to help your mom? Okay. All right, Esther, if you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Esther Lim,
Sincerely promise and affirm
sincerely promise and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially execute
that I'll faithfully and impartially execute
the duties and responsibilities of the District of Columbia Bar President.
the duties and responsibilities of the District of Columbia Bar President.
Promise to perform my responsibilities
I promise to perform my responsibilities
in conformity with the rules of the District of Columbia Court of Appeals
in conformity with the rules of the District of Columbia Court of Appeals
and the bylaws of the District of Columbia Bar.
and the bylaws of the District of Columbia Bar.
I will support the mission of the District of Columbia Bar
I will support the mission of the District of Columbia Bar
to aid in the administration of justice,
to aid in the administration of justice,
to support professional development for members of the bar,
to support professional development for members of the bar,
and I will promote
and I will promote
access to justice for the public.
access to justice for the public.
In this, I promise.
In this, I promise.
Congratulations, Esther.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chief. Can I give you a hug? You all look Thank you, Chief. First things first, let's hear it for the Caps and the Stanley Cup. History will reflect that the 2018 DC Bar Celebration of Leadership dinner was preceded by a massive citywide parade. A young girl was walking along the beach, lined with thousands of starfish that had washed up during a terrible storm. As she came upon each starfish, she picked it up and threw it back into the ocean. An old man watched her a while and asked, "Little girl, what are you doing? You can't save all the starfish. It won't make a difference." She listened quietly. She bent down, picked up another starfish, and gently threw it back into the ocean. Then she looked up at him and said, "It made a difference to that one." I'm that starfish. I've been picked up many times in my life by kind teachers, random strangers, and caring mentors. Jim Sandman is one such mentor. He exemplifies what makes the DC Bar special. He lives in service of others. He lives modestly and gives generously. And he has a perfect score. Recently, he received the 100 at 100 award for devoting 100% of his wage and 100% of his time to help ensure legal services for those in need. Jim, you're an inspiration. Over a Memorial Day weekend, I visited the Smithsonian American History Museum. On the way to the popular First Ladies exhibit, I was struck by a sleepy little showcase captioned, "Giving in America." It noted that philanthropy is not unique to the United States, but Americans' ideals of participation, equality, and shared responsibility have shaped a distinctive form of giving in America. That American value of giving has touched me long before I immigrated to this country. In Korea, growing up poor with a father who dedicated his life to serving his community as a grassroots church pastor, the $50 monthly checks from a caring American missionary in Indiana meant the difference between days with and days without food. I immigrated to this country, as Jim mentioned, without speaking a word of English, and during those uncertain and challenging days, a kind school teacher, Mrs. Jean Herbert, taught English to me, my 3 siblings, and my mother for several years without a penny in return. As recent immigrants to this country, my family and I were beneficiaries of subsidized housing. My parents scraped and saved, and in 10 years, they achieved the American dream of owning their own home. You see, I've been that starfish and have been picked up many times in my life. Each of us in this room likely has been that starfish one or more times in our lives to help us be who we are and where we are today. Random acts of kindness transform lives. When I'm at the DC Superior Court for a pro bono case representing a single mother with 5 kids facing imminent eviction, I see the faces of an immigrant family struggling to make ends meet. Their story is my story, and their plight is our plight. As parents, as neighbors, as lawyers, how can we afford not to help, to give? Nothing would please Chief Judge Moore more than seeing more lawyers in court doing pro bono work. And in the words of the legendary Congressman John Lewis, get in the way, and get into good trouble. The need for pro bono remains a pressing challenge for our community. To continue the bar's long tradition of community service and giving, I will establish a special task force to examine how we can, as a bar, increase pro bono participation, while also providing opportunities for mentoring, particularly for first-generation lawyers who do not have ready access to mentors through friends, family, or neighbors. As my first presidential act, just minutes after being sworn in, it's my pleasure to appoint as the chair of this important task force the bar's 39th president and the general counsel of the Legal Services Corporation, Ron Flagg. Speaking of being sworn in, it's a delight to share the stage this evening with Chief Judge Anna Blackburn Rixby. We've known each other for about 20 years when she was at the Superior Court and I was active with the fabulous Asian Pacific American Bar Association of DC. Chief, thank you for your leadership. This past year, I had the pleasure and privilege of working with and learning from President Pat McGlone. He always combined eloquence and elegance with ease. He modeled leadership, professionalism, and sound judgment. Congratulations to Pat and the entire outgoing board on an exceptional year. Sincere thanks to the bar CEO, Bob Spagnoletti, and the terrific bar staff for an outstanding work and dedication throughout the year. I honor all of tonight's awardees and look forward to serving with Susie Hoffman and the incoming board. Over 20 years ago, an alum from my law school, Jim Forstner, helped open the door for me to Finnegan. Since then, I've been fortunate to practice law at a firm committed to excellence in IP, pro bono, and diversity. This year, Finnegan and about 80 of its lawyers personally gave over $140,000 to the Pro Bono Center in honor of the Donald R. Dunner Legal Services Fund. All those from Finnegan, please rise and be recognized. I am deeply grateful to be surrounded tonight by caring colleagues, friends, 친구, and family from near and far. To my immigrant parents, Joseph and Chun Lim, married 53 years, I owe a lifetime of gratitude and love. To my exceptionally talented sister, Debbie, who has a heart of gold, to my dependable brother, Daniel, who picks me up when I'm down, and my loving sister, Mary, who's always taking care of me like a second mom. What can I say but 감사합니다. To Ma, JK, and Eunice, thank you for expanding and enhancing our family. To my favorite and only nephew, Solomon, I'm so proud of you. To my daughters, Nora and Hannah, my heart and soul, who are half Korean, half Chinese, and all American. Who can say no to mommy in 3 different languages. 착한 딸들 사랑해요. To my husband, John Yang, who every day fights to advance justice and who every day gives me unwavering support and unconditional love. 谢谢我爱你. I dare disagree with the Marshall awardee, but I also have the best family in the world. I dedicate this evening to a remarkable woman born on June 6, 100 years ago, Kim Ok-yeon. A war survivor, she's the only grandparent I've ever known, but she certainly made up for 4. My grandmother lived her 100th year in good health, wearing a beautiful smile, and she's my hero. Tonight, as we celebrate the leadership of our bar, let us reaffirm our commitment to equal access to the law and equal justice under law. Together, let's pick up that starfish, one at a time. Thank you. Thank you. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. The meeting is now adjourned.